as always, balancing the White House and national security and the stories that she's reporting on and editing here in Washington, D.C. Kriti, let's assemble the panel. They're both with us today. Bloomberg Politics contributors Jeannie Sheehan Zaino and Rick Davis. Rick is our Republican strategist and partner at Stone Court Capital, and Jeannie is a democracy visiting fellow at Harvard Kennedy School's Ash Center, Bloomberg Politics contributor, of course. I'd like to get into this with both of you. We've been talking about it for a couple of years with regard to the war in Ukraine, with regard to Russia, and of course America's relationship with China, which has evolved in interesting ways between both the Biden and the Trump administrations. Rick, what went through your mind when you saw these images from over the weekend? Putin, Xi, Modi, hugging, laughing, talking together in China, not to mention Modi and Putin together in a vehicle for almost an hour. These lines are being rewritten before our eyes. Is it because of the Trump administration?
Well, you didn't see this kind of participation just a few years ago with these dialogues. So it is a troublesome situation. Troublesome that we don't have a better relationship today with India, somewhat sparked by the punitive tariffs that President Trump has put on them. But I'd point out another one. Turkey's Erdoğan was there too, and he's a member of NATO. So we have a NATO member sitting in a group with, all of our global antagonists, and so it's got to be a warning shot for the Trump administration and their national security group to start getting serious about how they played these global affairs. Because even though America First says, oh, let them do whatever they want to do, this is not good for democracy and freedom around the world.
Jeannie, hop on in here in this conversation. I feel like we've been focusing so much on the negatives of this. Let me take my Debbie Doomsday hat off for a moment and put my positive one on. If we start to see relations between the United States thaw with either Putin, Xi, or with Modi, does that have a cascading effect on this trio?
It possibly could, and I wish, Kriti, I could join you and be optimistic, but I am so not. I think in terms of foreign policy, this administration just 8 months in, it has really been a disaster. You look at just the impact of the tariffs on our alliances. If you're going to confront and compete with China, the one thing you need is allies. You cannot win this competition without them. And what does he do? He goes and he inflicts tariffs on our closest allies, including, as you guys were just talking about, India, secondary tariffs. And of course, they thumb their nose at him, and Modi goes right over and is now with Xi Jinping and Putin. So yes, a thaw in relations could be beneficial, but I'm deeply worried that things have gotten too far now, and the president promising his promise about 24 hours he could, make Ukraine safe again, end the war. You look at what's going on in the Middle East, you look at our relationships with India, the entire world has now reconfigured or is in that process, even Japan meeting with Xi Jinping recently, and that's as a result of these policies. So I am not as optimistic, although I will try to be when I come back and talk to you next.
Ever the optimist. I don't know. It sounds to me like the secondary sanctions could have quite an impact right now, which is something that Rick Davis has been calling for a couple of years. Our great panel will be back with a lot more to talk about as we turn to domestic politics. Rick Davis and Jeannie Sheehan Zaino, Bloomberg Politics contributors, with us here on the Tuesday, even though it feels like a Monday edition of Balance of Power. We'll take a look at Wall Street. Lisa Mathieu checking stocks for us with a new whiff of uncertainty in the air over tariffs. And we've got Kriti Gupta with us today in Washington, D.C. And for the next several weeks, we'll be back with a lot more smart talk from Washington by way of Wall Street straight ahead. I'm Joe Mathieu in the nation's capital, right here.